I had hopes for a new life for myself, but they have broken all my dreams. I was really scared of them. They told me to go back to India.
He would not let me go out. If I did, he made a big fight. I was really stressed. Who likes swearing? Fighting all the time. I can't tolerate the eating. I got lonely, depressed.
I had become mad, but I'm getting better. Marriage breakdown is a big thing for me, but now I can get on with the rest of my life.
Been feeling so bad, so sad, because I don't know anything. I don't tell anybody about him. He called my family and shouted at them, and my family shouted at me and saying, "We can't accept you." It feels bad. I miss them.
Southall Black Sisters was set up in 1979 by a group of Asian and Afro-Caribbean and other minority women, many of whom lived locally in Southall. They were heavily involved, as were many women, in the anti-racist mobilisations in 1979 and before. In 1979, Southall witnessed one of its most seminal anti-racist moments when the whole community came out in defence of racist provocation by a far-right group called the National Front, who decided to march through Southall and hold a meeting in a very provocative manner to unsettle the community and make people feel like outsiders and unwanted. So it was a very racist moment. The community came out in defence of Southall, and very many supporters from outside Southall who were involved in anti-racist movements culturally and politically also became involved. That moment was also the birth of Southall Black Sisters, because the women felt that whilst they were involved in anti-racist movements, they were not particularly visible. Certainly not in the community, where women were constantly seen as second-class citizens, but also even within so-called progressive anti-racist movements, women's issues were not being raised, women's voices were not being listened to, and women were largely invisible. It was also very feminist from its inception. What made it so different from other feminist movements, it was an autonomous black feminist movement. Black was very much a political term, signifying solidarity and unity across race, class, caste, ethnicity. And also the sisterhood, which was signifying the burgeoning feminist values. When we set it up in 1982, we had no idea if women were going to be so-called allowed to come to the centre, and if they were, what issues they would present with. We decided to go with advice and advocacy, so that we felt that through a rights-based approach we could empower women to understand their situations, to understand the law, to navigate the systems and to fight for their rights.
The objective is to make women safe and to ensure that they can assert their rights. When dealing with victims of domestic violence, it's really important to have in your mind that the service that we provide is holistic. The reason for that is that it's manifold, as a matter of fact, because if we do not provide a holistic model, you won't be able to resolve the issue that she's dealing with, that is domestic violence. So when a woman comes to us and she reports domestic violence, there are other related matters such as her mental health, isolation, ostracization. So these are just a few examples of, the issues that she would present. So very important for us to refer her to our in-house counselling so she can get one-to-one counselling, which is BMA specific and has been developed over many years. And she can also have support through the support group, which is on a weekly basis. And she would meet other women who have also been victims of domestic violence.
I came to South Hall Black Sister because I was referred to the South Hall Black Sister by my psychologist, my mental health doctor. When I came, first of all, I was taken through the counseling, which lasted for 16 weeks. And that helped me a lot. Then they asked me to start coming to support group. Initially, when I came to support group, I couldn't stay because I don't have confidence. I had issue with confidence. I can't be around where there is a lot of people. So I could say that now I have maybe 95% confident to do the things I was not able and never ever think I would have done it before. There are other activities I did go with the Black Sisters, and like during the time of the suffragists, I spoke at the House of Commons, and when I got up there, I could not believe it was myself doing it, because it was like I was another person altogether. I had no fear, I was just confident. And most often they took us to outing, like seaside and all those things. And because I had an immigration problem and I couldn't go anywhere, I can't travel out, it was like I was put in a hole. So I was inside that hole. I couldn't move around. But when they took us out to places like that, it's like I was taken out of that hole and I was able to breathe. So, and in another occasion too, we were all taken to Cornwall. So it was there for the first time in my life, I thought that life actually worth living.
Our advocacy team deals with 500 individual cases. What you have to remember is that each case has interrelated issues, so it's not just a singular issue. So our advocacy has been developed to have a particular model. So, for example, we would have our helpline, which is separate, but we also get referrals through a helpline, which are then handed over to the advocacy team. And initially they will go to the crisis intervention, what we call the crisis intervention team. And what they would do is they would do immediate emergency work. For example, protection orders, non-molestation orders, police reports, an immediate police report, and also placing women in a refuge and housing, especially when we have women who have got immigration issues and therefore have no recourse to public funds. Often we have to refer women and children to social services, so we are challenging social services as far as Section 17 is concerned. And once we've overcome the immediate issues, then the mid to long term work kicks in.
I'd say the South Hall Black Sisters helpline is different because I'd say we're a bit more proactive in terms of the work that we do. A lot of the women that call, they get quite frustrated in terms of recounting their experience of domestic abuse to another agency. So what I do is once I've completed an assessment with them, I will offer to liaise with other agencies in their local borough, and I'd say, look, if these are the steps that you need to take, so I advise them in what they need to do, and I say I will offer to liaise with the agency in your borough, make an active referral to them and say this is the support that's required. So I will make that referral to the agency by calling them up or requesting a referral form. And it's only once I've got confirmation from the client and the organisation that they're being supported, then I will close the case on my end.
Actually, I was married to a British citizen and was abandoned in India. and with all my travel documents with them, and then later on my spouse visa cancelled. So I had contact with the women helpline who told me that my case was of transnational abandonment and domestic violence, and they had been helping me with legal advice. Then they have also been supporting me in my immigration, like by providing some support letters to my immigration lawyer. And apart from this, they have also, as I had no recourse to public funds, so they had been helping me with accommodation issues and a little bit of support during my initial months in the UK. Like it has been through the counselling sessions where I have been able to tell what all had happened with me, express myself more. And then apart from this, even through the support groups where I have been here, even there I have been able to overcome everything, because I could see a lot of women who have also faced abuse like me, or even more than what I have faced. So yes, I have been able to overcome my the issues that I have been facing, and I've been able to overcome them mentally.
Counselling is very unique in Southall Black Sisters because it's culturally specific, and it takes into account not just the individual's needs but also dealing with violence and abuse from the extended family and the community. And so for us that's quite unique in the way that we do our counselling. It's not time bound at all, because we believe that women, in order to overcome trauma, need it for a longer period, and particularly with BME women it's important to have it for a longer period.
When I came here also, I didn't speak in the first few months, so I heard people saying what happened to what they're facing in their life. So I felt a little bit comfortable. I felt first time in my life, I'm not the only one facing all those problems. Because first thing, they were so friendly, and I think that's make first confident to get involved with them, and then you feel you can trust them, and they will always help. When you come to the office, you never feel you're not like us.
We're not just dealing with the violence and abuse, but also harmful practices that go on within the abusive relationships. It's difficult for women to get the level of support they require through the mental health services, and for us to then support that woman, it's very hard. So it's very, very difficult to work in a multi-agency way to try and support a woman so that it doesn't have an impact on her long term or her children long term, but also impact on the statutory services. So what we're trying to do here is very unique in the sense that you try and pick up on women's physical and mental health much earlier, so it doesn't become so acute and then costs the state far more money to support her through that process, which will be long term. And so for us it's really important to catch those issues earlier and try and support the woman through overcoming violence, abuse, the trauma.
When I start coming here, and I used to go with them and demonstration and all those kind activities, and when we go there also, you can see when we out when we are out somewhere like group, we go with the support group and a staff also. I think that's the first time, that's a make you confident and building up slowly, because when we go out you can see the way how they looked after us, especially support group people. I think they knows what we are facing, what we facing in our life.
For us at SBS, the support groups are really, really important, and it's part of our holistic model of way of working with women to try and get them not just dealing with their emotional health or dealing with their social issues, but also to try and create the alternative within the organisation, such as friendships, peer-to-peer support they might get through that support group, try and build confidence, self-esteem through that process. And it's really important to do that because women are often very crushed.
I really like to start the writing session because it make me change who I am today.
SBS has got a long and proud history of successful activism and campaigning. Perhaps our most high-profile and successful campaign was that of Kiranjit Ahluwalia. Kiranjit was a young Asian woman who murdered her husband after years of violent abuse. We helped Kiranjit after her initial conviction for murder by visiting her, providing her with support, campaigning to raise awareness of the issue of so-called battered women who kill, and also how the law of provocation worked in a very discriminatory way against women in her position, whilst excusing men who may have killed in a moment of so-called passion or spontaneity. We also helped instruct lawyers for her appeal. In doing so, we not only raised public awareness of the issue and of Kiranjit's case, but we also challenged the institutional sexism that we felt was underpinning the criminal justice system and other parts of the legal system. Kiranjit's campaign led to a huge rise in SBS in the public consciousness. Films and plays were made about it, even a Bollywood film, and it really got communities talking about this issue of domestic abuse and challenged the stigma around domestic abuse. Some of the key challenges that we face as we look to the future include the austerity cuts, which include the decimation of legal aid for civil matters, including family and immigration cases. How can a woman achieve safety and achieve an escape from violence if she cannot effectively access benefits, if she cannot effectively access legal advice? These are crucial matters which we are fighting against every single day. Another problem that we see is the constant underfunding of statutory services, which means that often we are faced with poor and inadequate responses from the state, and we are left as a voluntary organisation to pick up the pieces and do that high quality work that these vulnerable women and their children deserve. We also continue to face the growing creep of fundamentalism into the lives of women, how they dress, where they go, how they can achieve justice for the wrongs that have been done to them. We must constantly be vigilant against this, and it is again a fight that we have every day to ensure justice for women as part of the broader legal system.
Fundraising is important to SBS because we are an NGO, we are an entirely charitable organisation, so our services are dependent on grants and donations. Without these funds, we would not be able to provide the very vital advocacy and advice services that serve as a lifeline to the countless vulnerable women who come to our doorsteps with horrific tales of abuse and violence that they have suffered at the hands of their partners, families, communities.
So the centre is very much now pivotal institution in the community of Southall, and whether the community likes it or not, it cannot ignore the institution. After 40 years, we have carved out a space for ourselves, and we have ensured that women are on the map.